Hello, and welcome to We Live for Saturday, your favorite college football podcast. I'm your co host, Mike, and with me, as always, is your other co host, John. John, how are you doing on this hot, steamy August day?
Well, this is the worst month out of the year for me. I mean,
Oh,
August
man,
is
right?
awful. Like I
Yeah,
understand, yes, like college football season officially starts at the end of August, but
but
this
only
month,
at the very end.
yeah, this month is horrible, dude. I mean, even yes, September can be hot and gross as well, but like fall is like real fall weather is just around the corner. So like a reprieve is coming, but August you're kind of, at least for me, I'm done putting up with like the hot humid days and I'm just over it. Like most people are over it probably, February, March with winter. They're just like, okay, like let's move on.
Yeah.
Like that's where I'm at with summer right now.
Yeah, dude, it is, and I'm in enemy territory right now.
Hmm.
Back in West Lafayette, and it is 90, feels like 97.
Gross.
And I went for a long walk this morning, and it wasn't like yesterday. I got up early enough, and I took a
Hmm.
walk at like 7, and it was fine. And today I was like doing some other stuff. I took a walk at like 11.
Hmm.
Man, it wasn't great. It was hot. And I was worried that I killed the dog because it was panting for a full hour after the walk. And I was like, oh no, did I just kill the dog? Like, how am I going to explain that? How am I going to ever justify that? You know, it was terrible. So the dog's okay.
Good. Yeah.
Eventually drank a bunch of water and eventually stopped panting. But
Yeah.
like seriously, for a full hour. So that was
Yeah. I mean,
probably not great of me to even take the dog out in that. So that's my bad.
when it's like that, yeah, I mean, I think it's dangerous for people, it's dangerous for dogs, I think, but like, you don't expect it at that early in the morning to be much of a problem. So, but
I didn't think
yeah,
it was gonna be.
you
Yeah, I
wouldn't
didn't
think.
think it was gonna be as muggy as it ended up feeling
Yeah.
like it was. But
Yeah.
I should have looked at the temperature. It could have told me the tail.
Yeah, I mean, I was out. Went out and watered some of our garden and some plants and stuff like that earlier today, probably around like 10, 11 o'clock. And you get some spillage when you're filling up the watering cans, and it's been, I don't know, 6 hours since then, and there's still like little pools of water there that just have not evaporated because it's so humid. So I'm like, okay.
Oh,
Yeah, so it's sticky.
wild.
It's not as hot here as it is where you are, but it's been that way up until
No, it
today.
has
It's
been.
been a little bit,
It
but
has been, and it's been a really hot July, and now we're
hmm.
into August, and we're in full out in the dog days of summer.
Yep.
I'm with you, man. And all I can hope is that when we get to September, it turns hard. You
Yeah.
know, it
Same.
turns, and we get some, because sometimes it limits how many home games you get where you get to wear your actual like. So I feel cheated if I have to wear a t-shirt to too many games,
I'm with
because
you.
it's like I'm just wearing the same rotation of t-shirts and like hats, and I don't you don't get to pull out the hoodies and the winter. It's let's be real. It's college football is all about the pageantry and the
Hmm.
student section and the dance line and the cheerleading squad. And part of that is you getting peacocked up in your
Hmm.
school attire to go to games. And when it's cold, you're just wearing more clothing so you can be a better fan, I think. I
I
think the
agree.
more school stuff you're wearing, the better a fan you are. I think I'm a better fan when it's 30 degrees than when it's 95. I
Yeah.
do.
I mean, I'm with you. Plus, it's just like it's nice to have options. There's only
Yeah.
so many options you can have when it's 90 degrees outside and sunny and all that. So
Yeah.
I'm with you, man. I love it when fall finally hits and you're at a game and you're outside and it feels that nice crisp cool air. And I just hopefully it hits soon. I hope it hits early, but then I hope we have like a nice long fall, and
Yes.
that's what I'm hoping for.
Yes, a
But
long cool. Like not right to cold, not
yeah,
right from summer to winter. No, we don't
yeah,
want that. We want a real gradual transition.
mm-hmm, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm
I'm
with
with
you.
you. Yep.
Awesome.
Cool. Well, I guess. Well, before we get started, obviously, I just want to put this out there as always. If you want to find We Live for Saturday, you can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Podcast Addict. You can find us on Twitter at We Live for B1GSat. You can find Mike here at Alibaba26 and me, John, at Norwegian Gopher. And you can email us, we live for Saturday, b1g@gmail.com.
We should probably also say this is a Michigan and Nebraska preview.
It sure is.
Yeah. This is the penultimate preview episode in our long ongoing series.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to be honest with you, our podcast audience, really our friends, because I feel like I know a lot of you personally. In some cases, you greet me in public and I realize I do know you personally. And that's really cool too. But whether or not I do, we struck out on Michigan and Nebraska. And with Nebraska, we had multiple different options and it just came down to scheduling. And, and we're not naming any names. So I can just say there was a little flakiness and it wasn't on our side.
Mm-hmm.
Not hating, just telling you what happened. And so it didn't work out where we could get that. So we did our best to research and preview. And now that it's closer to, now that we're in fall camp, we have even a better idea about what we're looking at. So, it's our bad. We're going to try to do better for next time. I will say, Michigan, in the rivalry between Ohio State and you, they're killing you with podcasters.
Mm-hmm.
They are killing you in the podcasting realm. I understand that you have the edge on the field right now, but that can change. The podcasting thing, though, you guys got to up your game because you just don't have that many people to go to. And most of the people get paid. And we get some people who get paid who come on here, but it's out of the goodness of their hearts because they're nice, because we're not monetized yet and there's nothing in it for them other than having talking ball and having a good time, which we do here.
Yep.
So it's just harder to get those people. So with Michigan, it's just kind of tougher sledding, finding a Michigan, someone who covers the team who's willing to come on a podcast. And with Nebraska, man, it was just a timing thing mostly, and we'll for sure rectify that. Next time we do previews, I think we'll make sure that we have experts for both of these schools.
Well, talking about just podcasts and availability and people that can come on when it comes to that. I mean, Nebraska, there's an abundance, almost an overabundance of podcasters and people who can do so. That's
a not a big swing and a miss on our part.
Yeah, it's things just didn't line up, unfortunately. I'm sure next year we will be sure to have that, or when we review the 2025 season, we'll have somebody on. But Michigan, why is it so hard to find a legitimate podcaster and that is willing to just help out, number one, or just why? Yeah, like you said, it was kind of baffling to see how few options there were out there. And if we're not looking in the right places, any Michigan fans, please point us in the right direction and point them in our direction, because we would love to have them on and would love to talk ball and get more of an in-depth perspective from someone who really follows the team even closer than we do.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to do our best, but these are our previews. So I'm sure if I pronounce a name wrong or we're not quite sure on the depth chart always, that's our bad. And we'll rectify it as soon as ball is being played, or as soon as you get in the comment section and tell us what we're wrong about, which we appreciate too.
Absolutely. We are happy to admit when we're wrong. That's one thing here on We Live for Saturday we are capable of doing. We're
happy to admit when we're wrong, but we're ecstatic to talk about when we're right.
Always.
Those are the conversations we love to have here.
Which has been pretty common when it comes to the review periods after the seasons lately.
We did pretty well last year.
Right.
I'm just saying a lot of podcasters that I have a lot of respect for, we're not as accurate as your boys here were last season when it came to Big Ten football. Just saying.
It's true.
Just saying.
It's true.
Throwing it out there because we could be just as wrong this year, but we were pretty right last year about a lot of things. From national champions down to teams who underachieved and teams who overachieved. We hit it all pretty squarely on the nose. So, yeah. And yes, we also are the humblest podcasters out there. We are the most. We have.
We're the most humble podcasters that I know.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely.
All right,
Yeah.
John. So we were just going to go right into the previews, but you drew my attention to something that I had heard about, but kind of ignored because I only heard the one-line punch of it. But you want to talk about it, so introduce this.
I mean, I feel like we're a Big Ten podcast, but that also means that we're an SEC bashing podcast, and we got to expose them for when they need to be exposed. Because unfortunately, the vast majority of the national media does not do that. That's part of why we are also here, not only to speak on behalf of every single school in the Big Ten, not just helmet schools, but also to speak on behalf of the Big Ten against the national media and their lack of coverage and honesty when it comes to the Big Ten Conference. So, surprise, surprise, this comes to Paul Finebaum, who, of course, always has such wonderful things to say about the Big Ten. And yes, we all know he gets paid to be a shill for the SEC. He works for ESPN. Before anybody gets in the comments or says anything about it, we get it. But we still got to call it out because he's
got a huge audience.
Yes.
A huge audience. And ESPN talks to him like he's some sort of unbiased expert, which is just equally hilarious.
Yeah. So this interview was happening on, Danny Kleppinger was interviewing Paul Finebaum, and she asked, who's going to win the national championship, and is it going to be an SEC team? Finebaum replied, it is. And by the way, if it's not, I'm leaving the country because I am so sick and tired of being harassed by Big Ten fans on our show. And he goes on to say, the Big Ten has literally done nothing. They've won 2 national championships. Michigan won one 2 years ago. They've won 1.5 national championships, I think. And before that, in 70 years, and they act like they invented football. And now, we'll go back to all of this. He goes on to say, Alabama has won about 15 national championships in my lifetime. Now, I realize that's not a good comparison to a realistic lifetime, but I believe Texas is going to win. I didn't mean to avoid your question. It's going to end all this. And on January 20th, I'll be the happiest man in America because I won't have to listen to listen to the Big Tenors, or as my callers call them, the Little Tenors. Which, of course, is so original. And again, all of this is wrong and false information, and I just find it hilarious that his way of justifying and calling the SEC the best is calling Alabama the best for winning 15 national championships.
You notice he didn't say that the SEC, he didn't list their total number.
No.
Nope. Even though they've dominated, more or less the 20 years before the last 3.
And, all this says to me is that they are scared.
Oh, so scared.
This kind of stuff doesn't happen when you feel comfortable and you're confident in your abilities and where you stand in the pecking order of things. And right now, and we've said this before when it comes to other things as well, that the SEC and ESPN is terrified of what the Big Ten has become. And now that they have leveled the playing field with NIL and the transfer portal, this is just another example. We talked about that, but it's embarrassing for them. You would think anyways, but they get paid to do this kind of thing. Finebaum's one of the biggest SEC shills out there. So, yeah.
I think it's so funny to say the Big Ten hasn't done anything. First of all, it's not 1.5 titles. It's 2. We all saw it. Michigan was by far the best team with or without Connor Stallions, because we saw them without Connor Stallions.
Yeah.
And they continued shelling people.
Yeah.
And if it was just a schematic advantage they had, that would have gone away. They were just better.
Yeah.
I saw that team in person, John. That's the best team I've ever seen play in person. Ever.
Yeah. It was absolutely dumb.
So yeah. So that's that. As far as, and then he references the last 70 years, and I think, man, the things the Big Ten has done on and off the field. I mean, we want to talk about integrating the sport. Maybe you want to talk about that, SEC, because you didn't come anywhere close to doing that because you were on the wrong side of that. So let's be real. Let's be real. If we want to talk about issues, let's talk about issues now. But the Big Ten also created the Big Ten network, and the SEC has never forgiven us for it because they got locked in and continue to be locked in into a deal where their network is controlled by ESPN, whereas the Big Ten network partnered in like a more meaningful way with Fox, and they had a lot more autonomy as a conference with that. I understand that everyone is now kowtowing to the TV networks, but what the Big Ten carved out in a media sphere was absolutely the envy of the SEC. And the Big Ten's been on the cutting edge of that. The Big Ten was on the cutting edge of, NIL and all that kind of stuff. And it's just, the Big Ten has the alumni bases and the infrastructure and the wealth to always, always, always be there. And the SEC is not going away because they have the population theory works in their favor.
Yeah.
Just the purely on that alone, they're always going to be a force, right?
Sure.
But we're even now. And even if the SEC wins a title this year, they haven't surpassed the Big Ten. They're not pushing them out of the way. They are sharing the spotlight because they're sharing the power.
Yeah.
They're sharing the money and they're sharing the power. So Paul Finebaum can say whatever he wants. You can't wave away the Big Ten anymore like you did in the early 2000s. And they started that propaganda that the league was slow. Remember when they used to say that?
I still see people type that out and put that on Twitter. Yeah.
I mean, that's okay. Yeah. At this point, if you think that, you're just being ridiculous because look at the recruiting rankings and look at the track times and the guys who come into the Big Ten and dominate. Yeah. Like, who are you kidding? But it was never really true.
No, it never was.
Do you know what I mean? It was purely propaganda in the early stages when the SEC had not claimed any kind of supremacy. It wasn't that long ago when Auburn was undefeated and got left out of a BCS title game because the SEC schedule was considered too weak. And the SEC's terrified that'll happen again.
Yep.
They're so scared. And I want to tell them, it's not going back. You guys won. You won the war of the South. You know why? The ACC is done.
Yeah.
You won the war against the ACC. That's who you had to beat. But the Big Ten is not going away. We're your partner. It's like the United States and China. You can't go to war. You cannot. It's too big. You're both too big. You blow up the whole sport. You got to work together. And people like Paul Finebaum, who are still spouting anti-Big Ten propaganda, at this point, you're doing a disservice to the whole sport because you're convincing a certain percentage of fans that the Big Ten is not an elite league that they should be watching. And I bet you there are plenty of Southern SEC fans who never watch the Big Ten just because they've been bought into just because they buy into the media ecosystem. And guess what, John? We know they do because those same fans are shocked every year in the postseason when reality hits them like a ton of bricks.
Yeah.
Like a ton of bricks.
It's like they never saw it coming. Yep.
No.
Because they're drinking the Kool-Aid, man. That's really what it is. And everything that the SEC and ESPN is trying to sell them on a weekly basis, and and honestly, even more than that. Like, unfortunately, the vast majority of the national media is shoving that crap down their throat.
You ever wonder what the world is like in which Michigan State actually tried meaningfully to extend Nick Saban?
That'd be amazing.
Can you imagine how much different? Like,
it'd be crazy.
I don't think the SEC superiority thing ever happens.
Ever? No.
Ever.
No.
Like, we still live in, dude. We might still have 5 conferences. I'm serious.
Yeah.
It was that big. It was that titanic for the sport for Nick Saban to end up at Alabama when he did.
Well, I also just one last thing. It's just, for someone like Paul Finebaum, who's been around college football for as long as he has, should know what actual history is and where college football was invented.
Oh yeah, let's not bury the lead. Sorry, go back to that. Yeah. He said they act like they invented college football. Okay, John, talk to them about that.
Well, supposedly and historically, it is known that it was invented by Rutgers, and a game between Rutgers and Princeton
Uh-huh.
was the first official college football game. So since Rutgers is in the Big Ten, there's that. And then also the fact that the sport then migrated north into New England. You got Harvard, you got Yale, you had the Ivy League powerhouses from back in the day, and then it started migrating to the upper Midwest,
Uh-huh.
into Pennsylvania and Ohio. You had Penn, you had Penn State, you had Ohio, and then
Chicago.
Michigan, Chicago, Minnesota. Very, very shortly thereafter. So
Yeah.
in a way, yeah, college football was invented by the Big Ten, and it was perfected by the Big Ten.
We invented the modern traveling trophy too. Don't
Yeah.
ever forget that.
Yep. Well,
SEC.
and the Big Ten conference was around what? How many? Like three and a half decades longer than the SEC?
Oh
It's
yeah.
been around. Yeah.
Like way longer. So
So
generations longer.
why are you talking Paul Finebaum? It takes a little research, and someone like you who's been around college football as long as you have should have known this.
And you know what? He knows the Big Ten is great. He just
Yeah,
won't admit it because it's not in his financial interest to do so.
exactly. Yeah. So,
Bottom line.
yep. So anyway,
We
that's that.
see you, Paul. We see you, Paul.
Well, he's been getting dragged all over Twitter, so
And rightfully so. And you know
Yeah.
what? If Penn State or Ohio State or Oregon wins a national title this year, like, yes, I'll be disappointed that it wasn't Minnesota. But I will also laugh, like,
Yep.
hysterically,
Same.
because Paul Finebaum's head will explode. Like,
Mhm.
on the air, it'll be something to see.
Yep. And I'll help him pack. He's going to leave the country, right? So I will
Yeah.
absolutely. Paul, you want some help, buddy? Just give me a
Dude,
call.
who would take him even? You know what I mean? There's no way Canada's letting Paul Finebaum come.
I mean, maybe he could take on the Premier League over in Europe or something like that.
I was going to say Mexico. I don't see it. I don't see them letting him in. Yeah, I think he'd have to go to Europe.
Yeah.
I don't know where else would be willing to let in a dumb, unqualified white guy. Just saying.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on to more serious, real stuff here. Why we're all really here. So
Yes,
yeah,
we are previewing the Michigan Wolverines and the Nebraska Cornhuskers. And I was thinking, John, that we would start with Michigan, if that's cool with you, unless you want to start with Nebraska for some reason.
no, that's totally fine. I was wondering how you wanted to start, and I'm good to go on either one. So
Okay, should we jump into it?
let's do it. Yeah.
So, go ahead.
No, go right ahead.
I was going to say Michigan head coach Sharon Moore is in an interesting position.
Mm-hmm.
He's had a meteoric rise for such a young coach. He started at JUCO Butler Community College before transferring to play for Oklahoma in 2006. He appeared in 14 games in 2 years as an offensive guard. His break came at Louisville, where not only was he a GA for 3 years, but he then became their tight ends coach for 2 years. After that, he was tight ends coach for Central Michigan. 3 years there, after 3 years there, he ascended to assistant head coach and run game coordinator. Then he got hired as the tight ends coach for Michigan by Jim Harbaugh, 2018 to 2020. Then he was co-OC and O-line coach for 21 and 22. And then he had the good fortune to land the OC O-line coach job for 2023. Not only did the Wolverines win the national title, but Moore actually got to coach several games due to suspensions to head coach Jim Harbaugh. When Harbaugh returned to this NFL, it seemed like a no-brainer slam dunk hire to retain Moore. He helped build that patented in-your-face, ground and pound, FU, Jim Harbaugh style of Big Ten football. And entering year 2, the run game is exactly as potent as you'd expect. It was great last year and should be great again this year. The question mark for Moore is the passing game. And until that develops, it will limit Michigan's upside. But more about that later. Moore has a big chance to change the narrative this year. I think we should explore this new look offense, see how improved they ought to be. But first of all, John, any thoughts on Sharon Moore?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to quite think yet. This was his first year, which, I'm going to I feel like that's it's fair to give him a little bit of grace with that on how Michigan performed. We obviously showed some concern as far as his ability to understand the quarterback, I guess, last year,
He
which
just
I'll go
flat out
over.
he flat out picked a quarterback who couldn't play.
Yeah.
He's an O-line.
So
He comes from an O-line coach background.
yeah,
It's not his specialty. So he
yeah,
needs to have the right guy in place for that, clearly.
yeah, exactly. Which they might. Sure seems like they might. So
Yeah.
but yeah, no, I mean, look, I think everything is there to have success. Obviously, you're also at Michigan, so like there's so much infrastructure there that's set in place for him to be able to succeed. So I have high hopes for him. I think that this year could be a bit of a bounce back year. I'm not expecting, undefeated season or, maybe even 11 win season or 10, but like I think 8, 9 to 10 wins is pretty feasible, I think, at this point. But we'll
I
see.
mean, Michigan better go win 9 games
Hmm.
against that slate.
Yeah.
If Michigan wins fewer than 9 games against that slate, I think we have serious questions about Sharon Moore.
Yeah. I think it's going to happen personally, but
Probably.
yeah. So, but yeah, I can get into breaking down the offense if you want. We can kind of go into that and I can recap a little bit of 2024 before we get
Absolutely,
started.
man.
So,
Sounds good. Let's do it.
yes. So with Michigan's offense, in 2024, just a little recap. The Wolverines finished 8-5 overall, 5-4 in Big Ten play under first-year head coach Sharon Moore. The offense was definitely sluggish, scoring just 22 points per game, placing them 113th out of 134 FBS teams. That's Michigan.
Wow.
Like that's wild.
Michigan.
Yeah.
That's great. That's worse than Brady Hoke, Michigan, I think.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's such a drastic fall off from the year prior.
Wow.
Obviously, it was
Yeah,
crazy.
they were an unstoppable machine the year prior.
Yeah, so it's just kind of strange. And again, like you'd think at Michigan they just reload, right? And not to say they win another natty or something like that, but like it was odd to see this big of a drop off. But
Yeah.
anyway, so yeah, and then some of the offensive stats here with quarterback Davis Warren, he threw for 1,199 yards. Running back Kalel Mullings rushed for 948. Not too bad. And tight end Colston Loveland led with 582 receiving yards.
That's it, huh?
That's it. Yeah, and he's a talent, man.
amazing.
But nobody could get him the ball.
Yeah.
Like it was
Yeah.
crazy. So they just couldn't utilize him.
Not Davis Warren, not Alex Orgy, and certainly not Jack Tuttle.
No. No. So, and the offensive line struggled and it was just failing to meet standards all around. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
There was no explosiveness, no consistency. Like it was just underperforming across the board, other than maybe Khalil Mullings, like for the most part. But even
I think the running backs were pretty good.
Yeah, running backs
considering the fact that the other team knew that they were running the ball.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't throw it.
So, look, this offseason, it's an offensive line rebuild and a coaching boost. I think, they prioritize the offensive line. There's veteran leadership with Juan Castillo, who's a seasoned NFL college analyst who's brought in to enhance the technique and the cohesion. And then I think they got a 5-star freshman, Andrew Babalola. Sorry, Amuse. He emerged as a promising talent, potentially a starter at left tackle role as the season progresses. And I think they're just going to have a bunch of other good people here at the running back position. I think they're going to continue to flourish there. And then obviously I'll talk more about the new freshman quarterback, Bryce Underwood, who is a highly touted recruit. Drawing early comparisons, you and I have talked about this on the pod already, to like Cam Newton and Vince Young and all this kind of stuff.
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen.
Who's like, the second or third best QB in pro football?
Yeah. So yeah. I think obviously this is a true freshman, so it's going to there's going to be some adjustments, but like if he's even half of that type of quarterback, I think Michigan could be doing pretty well here. So,
I mean, dude, remember, it wasn't that long ago Trevor Lawrence won the Natty as a true freshman.
That's true.
I mean, granted, that was a very good Clemson team, but he was fantastic, and he was a true frosh. And Dabo benched a senior starter for him.
Yeah.
So it could have, I mean, if Bryce Underwood is who we think he is, it could be crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting because they brought in Mikey Keene from Fresno State, right?
Yep.
And I think a lot of people, myself included, thought that it would be a thing where he was the starter and Underwood came in different packages until he showed that he could be the guy and eventually took over the starting role, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But then Mikey Keene kept getting hurt. He got hurt in spring ball. He apparently is banged up now. And Underwood has gotten the bulk of the reps as the number one guy. So it would only make sense for it to be Underwood now because of what they have invested in him, the fact that he's gotten all these reps. And we're just going to find out, man. It was like, is he Trevor Lawrence or is he Dylan Raiola? And you know what? Dylan Raiola was very good last year.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get to that later, Husker fans. That's a little tease. But we'll talk about Raiola, and he was very good last year for a true frosh, but he threw a bunch of picks. So how is Bryce Underwood going to be at taking care of the ball? That's the thing. And I don't just mean throwing it and not throwing picks. I mean taking the snap from the center successfully. I mean handing it off successfully. All those things at college speed, like he's used to playing in high school. Now everything's got to happen way faster. So that's a lot to adjust to. And it's going to be interesting to see what his learning curve is.
I agree. I think, and there will be ups and downs. I mean, no matter what, I think though, I could see it early in the season, maybe against Oklahoma being, having some issues here and there, but
against a Brett Venables defense, yeah, I think a true freshman could have some issues for sure. That guy knows how to make every coverage look like every other coverage.
Yeah.
And you have to read it post-snap, and that's hard for a young quarterback. It's one thing when you can just read it pre-snap, and then and you take the snap, and you're like, okay, I'm going to go, I'm going to take my drop, and then I'm going to throw it to the wide receiver on the left, But like when you have to say, okay, I'm going to take my drop and I'm going to watch the safety and the corner and see what they're doing and then decide where the ball's going.
Yeah.
That's harder.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, I'm very intrigued. Let's put it that way. I think he's clearly going to have a lot of talent. I think he's going to have a lot of ability to make some really big plays, but can he minimize the mistakes as always? I mean, that's pretty usual when it comes to a true freshman. We say that all the time. So, but I do think that the offensive line is going to be improved. I do think that he's got some good people there to protect him and give him some time to throw the ball and make some good decisions. As of right now, and again, please correct us if we are wrong on this, but what I have here at left tackle, I have Evan Link, who's a redshirt sophomore starting there. I have Giovanni El Hadid, redshirt senior at left guard. Greg Crippen, redshirt senior at center. Nathan Effaby, redshirt sophomore at right guard. Andrew Sprague, redshirt freshman, and at right tackle. And so I feel like they have some good people there. The depth is pretty young. There's Anthony Simpson, who's a transfer, who's a redshirt senior transfer. Or no, not sorry, Matt, my bad. No, Brady Norton, redshirt sophomore transfer, and Lawrence Hatter, redshirt sophomore transfer. So other than that, it's pretty young. There's freshmen all over the place. Everyone's going to have to stay healthy. I think the starters are really solid. I think there's a lot of talent there. Michigan always is able to step up on that point. And obviously, I do trust, I trust Michigan's head coach to be able to do a good job and find the right guys for that position group. But can they stay healthy? Like I said, there's not a lot of experience behind them, so we'll see. But I have faith that they're going to be able to protect Bryce and give him enough time to figure out what he's going to do. And then looking at the running backs, I just feel really good about it. They have Justice Haynes.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
he averaged 6 yards a carry for Alabama the last 2 years.
Yeah. He's going to fit in just fine. Not worried about that. Then they have Jordan Marshall as a redshirt freshman, a lot of talent.
He looked really good when he played last year.
Yeah, he did. And then Bryson Kudzil, not sure how to pronounce it. I apologize. Redshirt sophomore. So there's some good talent there in the backfield, as they always do. I'm expecting the running game to pick up right where it left off and be pretty effective. And then I think with Bryce Underwood, with his ability to also move with his legs, that'll also add a different dimension to the running game. So I just think overall, him and the offensive line and that running back room is going to be able to give him a little bit of a buffer to perform pretty well. So
the running game is going to be lethal.
Yeah.
With Bryce Underwood, and you're going to have 1.5 defenders on him because he's the kind of guy who's going to need a couple guys to bring him down.
Yeah.
And then you got to stop the running backs too. Dude, it's going to be electric running the ball.
Oh, absolutely. And now, unfortunately, they're going to have to replace Colston Loveland. They've got Marlon Klein and Max Bredson. They're going to step up, I believe. And they also have
Hogan Hansen,
who is expected to be a possible breakout.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of noise coming around him that he could really step up. I think Marlon Klein is going to be really good.
Yeah.
But
they need one or two of those guys to be a legit threat in the passing game, because especially for a young quarterback, he needs his checkdowns, and that's his tight end and his running back.
Yeah. So I expect them to be pretty good. And then at wide receiver, we've got my guy, Donovan McCulley.
Donovan McCulley, man, what a journey from quarterback at IU to being run off to wide receiver at IU to Kurt Signetti comes in and says, "You're not good enough to play for me." And now he's expected to start for Michigan.
Mm-hmm. I still don't understand. Dude. I know there's a ridiculous amount of talent at Indiana last year, but
there was.
Donovan McCulley was making plays the year before.
Yeah, man. But you know what? Signetti is like PJ. If you don't run perfect routes, he won't play you.
Okay.
And maybe Sharon Moore and Chip Lindsey are like, YOLO. If you can get open, you can get open. We'll get you the ball.
Could be.
And dude, Donovan McCulley, they need him to step up and be real. He can't be kind of the inconsistent player he's been in the past. He has to show up and be a real deal for them. Well, last year he can do it.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure he can. Yeah. I mean, we saw him make ridiculous plays last year. 2 years ago, and he was amazing. Yes. I had high expectations. So yeah, it's possible that he could really step up and be a big difference maker here. I mean, they also have Frederick Moore, who's a junior. They have Samaj Morgan, who's also a junior. So there is some production coming back from last year, but nobody that was really a standout.
No. What about the 4-star Frosh Andrew Marsh? I feel like they need him to get into that rotation and prove he can make plays.
I think they're going to try to get him in, but I'm not entirely sure he's going to see a ton of time on the field, because they also got redshirt senior Anthony Simpson and redshirt sophomore transfer Andrew Simpson. That's it. I did that again from the left tackle. I have it right under. So I think Andrew Marsh is going to see some time, but I kind of expect Simpson and Channing Goodwin to get in there a little bit more. But he's got some real talent. I know there's a lot of noise around him, so I expect to see him probably early on in the season, and he'll have some opportunity to prove himself. But right now, it's just finding some of that. I think finding a number one receiver, which hopefully is going to be Donovan McCulley, and finding that experience out there to help out Bryce Underwood, because Underwood needs that. He needs guys who know what they're doing out on the field.
Oh yeah, is it going to be Samaj Morgan in the slot again, or what do you think?
I think he's going to be in the slot. Yeah, I think that's where he's going to be. That's what. That's where they have.
He's got to play. Right, he's got to be more consistent.
Yeah, he's got talent. Yes,
of course he has talent. Yeah, but he's got to be more consistent. Just running his routes, getting open, all that kind of stuff. They need to be more. They need to show that. Here's the thing about the Michigan receivers. Okay, they need to show that they're receivers and not just athletes.
Yes, exactly. It's been a while. It's been a little bit since we saw a true star wide receiver on Michigan.
And they used to have them all
the time.
Dude, I mean, remember I think about Lloyd Carr.
Yes.
Lloyd Carr had 2 to 3 terrifying wide receivers at all times.
Mm-hmm.
At all times, no matter what, it felt like. And it just seems that even Jim Harbaugh hasn't been able to have that.
Yeah.
And I don't really understand it, because the game is more receiver friendly than it's ever been. But I feel like Michigan has lesser receivers than they did 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And I don't get that.
I don't either, man. I mean, Penn State, we talked about that already as
Yeah,
well.
dude.
Like it's kind of strange. Like
Georgia,
yeah,
teams that are just recruited at a really high level but have had issues consistently developing receivers.
mm-hmm.
I think it's a hard position to scout.
Yeah, probably.
And a lot, I think it's harder. I think unlike the lines of scrimmage, there's other things that matter, but kind of like size, reach,
mm-hmm.
coordination, like you can kind of see it all, right? Yeah. And I think receiver, there's so many nuances to route running and
mm-hmm.
so many similarly explosive athletes that trying to figure out which ones are going to get it and which ones aren't. Yeah. Is hard.
Yeah, I agree. And we're going to see. I mean, I think you've said before that, you were referencing, our favorite guy, Bud Elliott, about how wide receivers, if they don't really show out in year one or bare minimum halfway through year two, then it's like they're just never going to be what.
Dude, yeah. I mean, I'm not big on Bud Elliott, but he brought up the fact that receivers, if they don't hit by their second year, and most of them by their first year, they're never going to hit.
Yeah.
And I've kind of seen that borne out again and again. He's not wrong. That it's rare that you have a guy sit for 2 or 3 years and then show up as a contributor there. Mm-hmm. Whereas at other positions, guys sit for a few years all the time and then come off the bench and play great.
Yeah.
But that's not a thing you see at wide receiver very much. You see guys who are playing from the time they get to campus because they can play.
Yeah.
And it's a tough position, Yeah. It's like running back, man. I think it's a hard thing and I think at running back even is probably easier than wide receiver to judge. I don't know. It's there's an art to it for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, as far as the offense goes in 2025, I think there's a lot of high potential expectation. I think there's a ton of high expectations. There's a lot of potential, but I think it's going to be tempered by youth and some new schemes and stuff like that. So, but a pretty high ceiling, I think.
Oh, sky high ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
Look, it's Michigan. The ceiling is a national title always.
Yeah.
Always. Michigan's one of 10 programs in the country that can say that.
Mm-hmm.
Along with Ohio State and I don't think maybe Oregon can say that now, but Penn State can't say that. USC can't say that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of good football programs can't say that.
True.
So Michigan's always dangerous. So yeah, if the offense comes together, my worry is the wide receivers.
Yeah.
If Donovan McCulley, if you are depending on him to be your number one guy, I'm worried. And Chip Lindsey as offensive coordinator, I think he makes sense because he has worked under Gus Malzahn and Mac Brown, guys who are good with dual threat quarterbacks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And have a history of that. So I think he's the right guy for Bryce Underwood, but he better be.
Yeah.
He better be the right offensive coordinator for Bryce Underwood. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Right on.
Cool.
All right. Should we talk defense?
Yes.
So your man, my man, defensive coordinator Wink Martindale returns for year 2. By the way, his namesake, I saw, died earlier this year. The game show host, remember? He was he was nicknamed after a game show host.
That's right.
Remember we covered that? Yeah, the game show host finally died. He was in his 90s, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, that guy had a good run.
I guess so.
But this Wink Martindale is very much alive. He played at Defiance College in the mid-'80s. Since then, he's been all over. Notre Dame, Cincinnati, Western Illinois, Western Kentucky. In 2004, he made the jump to the NFL, coaching the Oakland Raiders, Denver Broncos, who made him DC in year 2 in 2010, Baltimore Ravens as DC, New York Giants as DC, and now Michigan in year 2 as defensive coordinator. John, I have to eat crow on this. I was somewhat critical of the Wink Martindale hire when it happened because I was worried the guy had been in the NFL too long and wouldn't know how to coach college players. Well, I was wrong. Michigan's 2024 D was fantastic. Yeah, they had stars, but Martindale did a good job getting the most out of those stars. You lost 3 all-conference and/or all-American players on the D line in Mason Graham, Kenneth Grant, and Josiah Stewart. So they're gone. But, John, this is Michigan. They more or less reload on the D-line every year. Defensive end Derek Moore was a blue-chip recruit. Defensive tackle Rayshon Benny was a top 200 recruit. The staff signed 2 4-star transfers who were rotational players on packed rosters in Trey Williams from Clemson and Damon Payne from Alabama. The D-line should still be very good with Derek Moore, Trey Williams, Rayshon Benny, TJ Guy, Dominic Nichols, Damon Payne, Eno Etta, and Cameron Brandt all competing for time. At linebacker, starters Ernest Hausman and superstar Jayshawn Barham are both back at linebacker. That bodes really well for Michigan because these are great players. Other guys competing for time include sophomore Cole Sullivan and senior Jimmy Rolder. Secondary. So Michigan returns starters in emerging star cornerback Zeke Berry and safety Rod Moore. It's a little bit of a mystery at the other positions. Some of the guys competing at safety, cornerback 2 and nickelback include Jair Hill, TJ Metcalf, Brandon Hillman, Shamari Earls, Caleb Anderson, Josiah Edmond, Mason Curtis, and Jaden Mangum. Jaden Mangum still playing college football. He's been around.
That's wild.
I know, right?
Holy cow.
Yeah, I mean, good for him. So, John, look, I don't know who the stars are all going to be. I don't know who the starters are going to be, man, but I've seen this movie before. Wink Martindale's going to figure it out. Michigan's got a bunch of blue chip guys who have been sitting there chomping at the bit for their turn, and now it's their turn, and those guys are going to be great. They're a program that reloads on defense, and it's not like on offense, John. Michigan doesn't fall off on defense, except for under Rich Rodriguez. But even when Brady Hoke sucked, and he sucked, even when Jim Harbaugh had his down seasons, Michigan's always great on defense.
Yeah.
Always. You can just expect that. That's a program that really never fails on defense. Mm-hmm. So I think they're going to be great. I don't know. What are your thoughts on the Michigan defense?
No, I agree. I don't think they're gonna have much of an issue. They, like you said, they reload. I just don't see a fall off at the defensive line. I know that they have they're replacing some superstars. I get that. Maybe we'll see some issues early on, but
really early.
But I think by week 3, especially week 4, I think it'll be together and they're going to be just as dangerous as they've always been. Yeah. As far as the secondary goes, I expect it to just be stout like it always is. I don't think it's going to be like Ohio State's defense last year, but I think they're going to always be able to show up to play and shut people down. So man, I mean, there's really not much to say other than the fact that I have faith in everyone should have faith that this Michigan's defense is going to end up being pretty elite.
If they had to replace guys on linebacker and in the secondary to the same extent, I might be worried because those positions can take longer to gel.
Yeah.
But on the D line, man, it's just there's less that takes, it's kind of, I'm not going to say it's see ball, get ball, but on the D line, it's a lot less gray and a more black and white in what you're doing.
Yep.
From play to play. So I think Michigan's going to be nasty. I do. And then let's get to the specialists. Big Ten Kicker of the Year, Dominic Zavada, is extra motivated, John, because reportedly he's upset about being snubbed from the Lou Groza Award finalist list. He was 26 of 27 on PATs and 21 of 22 on field goal attempts, including, wait for this, 7 for 7 on kicks over 50 yards. 7 for 7 on kicks over 50 yards. Can you imagine, man?
Wow.
That is incredible. I can't. Yeah. So
I mean, I thought we were going to have that with Dragon, but yeah.
I know, man. I know. But he's gone now. He can't hurt us anymore.
Only in our minds, man.
Only in our minds. Yeah. I'll never get over the North Carolina game and him missing and then them turning on the fire or like setting off the fireworks like we won, but we lost. It's terrible.
Because everyone thought it was a sure thing.
I know.
I don't even think that until
I don't even want to
talk.
talk.
Sorry, this is a Michigan pod.
We're talking about Michigan, not talking about our pain. Although we could bring up some pain with Michigan with that onside kick that we deserve to get. But you know what, Michigan, it's your preview. We won't even bring that up except to say it was totally unfair. All right. But seriously, 7 for 7 on kicks over
amazing
50 yards. Unreal. At punter, it's a battle between Hudson Hollenbeck and Hunter Robertson. If Michigan's going to excel with a new look offense, I think it's imperative that they perform at an elite level on D and special teams. At kicker, we know to expect greatness. At punter, it's a question going into the season. So I don't know, man. I don't know what we're going to see. The reports have been mixed. I don't know what we're getting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing Jordan Marshall and Samaj Morgan are going to return kicks and punts respectively, but I don't have any confidence in that prediction.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, man. You don't love having the question mark at punter, but I think a good place to start any special teams is saying we have the best kicker in the Big Ten.
It's pretty nice thing to have.
Yeah, I think it's not bad. Yeah. You would take it, I think, is what you'd say.
We had
all right. Should we play the schedule game?
Let's do it. Yes.
All right. Thank you, Michigan, for having a navigable site where I could get an actual good pick. I'm just kidding. It wasn't great. Like, come on, Michigan, up your game.
You're Michigan. Like, get to it. Do better. All
right, John, let's talk about the schedule. So you get New Mexico to start. They could be a little salty, not that salty, but they could be salty-ish. Ish. I don't think they're going to have a lot of trouble. I think they're going to run them over like a freight train.
Yeah. I'm not worried about that. It'll be a good way to get Bryce Underwood's feet wet.
That's what I'm thinking, is that it's a good opportunity for that. And then, man, he better get as many reps. Like, they should, even if they're up in the fourth quarter, they should probably still be running offense.
Yeah, I agree.
Because then you got to go to Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to play the Sooners. And Brent Venables is coaching for his job, man. And that guy plays defense. And we alluded to it earlier, but he's really good at exposing inexperienced quarterbacks with exotic coverages.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of his specialty. So I'm worried about this game. You look at Oklahoma, they got John Mateer and his offensive coordinator out of the transfer portal, right? And their receivers can't be as injured as they were last year.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to think, Oklahoma is usually a team that plays a lot better on offense than they have under Venables.
Mm-hmm.
And if they are back at all offensively with John Mateer, and I think they might be, because John Mateer is also a dual threat quarterback. He's also a guy who's a number in the running game, and he's going to open up explosive plays in the running game because the defense has to fear him.
Yes, they should.
You've got two similar quarterbacks. You've got two similar programs. Only Brent Venables has been there a year longer, and he's more desperate to win.
And you have a more experienced quarterback who can do all those things.
Much more experienced quarterback. And also, you're on the road. It's going to be loud.
Yeah.
I don't like this game for me. Like, I'm not saying I'm picking a loss. I think it's a 50-50 coin flip for me. But I don't like this game for Michigan, John.
I mean, gun to my head, I actually am predicting this as a loss. I'm not saying I can't see a win, I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be hard fought. I just think the experience with Mateer and
Yeah,
his
dude.
playmaking abilities versus a young, inexperienced quarterback who may be a freaking superstar in the making, but also no proven wide receivers yet. I mean, yes, we've seen Donovan McCulley. I know we talked about that as being a possible star, but
He's not proven. He's not proven. He's not a proven star.
no, exactly.
He's a proven high upside guy,
Yes.
but like
So
he's not a proven star.
yeah, so I guess like that's I'm gonna have to give the edge to Oklahoma at this point. Now if
I feel like
Michigan's
this is low scoring, right?
oh, I think it's ugly.
Like
Yeah.
just a slugfest, just
Yes.
like run the ball and punt a lot, and like who makes their field goals and who
Yeah.
scores touchdowns when they get to the red zone, kind of thing.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a big defensive game, and agreed, like very very much like that. So I'm picking Oklahoma strictly because of the fact that they have Mateer and Michigan has a really inexperienced quarterback at this time. But I could be wrong.
I want it to be Michigan. We'll
I do too.
say
But
Michigan fans, for your sake, we're not going to count this as a straight up loss. We'll count this as a John and I will vote differently, and
so coin flip.
we'll call it a coin flip. I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I do think it's really coin flippy, and if the running game clicks the way I think it's gonna for Michigan, they might be fine.
It's true. That is
because
true.
if they limit it, and if he's only got to throw on like 1st and 10 or 3rd and long, and like most of the time it's 2nd and short, 3rd and short kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
or 2nd and medium, 3rd and short kind of thing, like you could protect a quarterback and you can make the game friendly for him. So he doesn't have to face all those weird, he doesn't have to worry about all those weird back end things that Oklahoma's doing, because Michigan's like, we're just going to run the ball at you. Be ready. Just so you know, it's coming off tackle, Yeah. And I think it's going to be that kind of game, man. And who's tougher? And here's what I'll say. John Mateer is more proven.
Yeah.
Bryce Underwood's a better athlete. So if you subscribe to the like lace him up and see who the best athlete is school of the Ron Zook school of coaching, you can talk yourself into Michigan. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean that's why I mean I had to state that I could see it going the other way, but I'm man, it's a coin flip, dude. You're right, and it could go either way. We'll see.
No,
I think it's going to be ugly.
It's legit for you to pick Oklahoma.
Yeah,
but let's call it, for the sake of it being a Michigan preview, let's call it a coin flip. So when we're thinking back at losses later, we can call that a either way.
Sure. Cool.
All right. Central Michigan. Here's what I'm going to say about the Chippewas. Dan Lefevre is not walking through that door. Did you like that? Did you like the Dan Lefevre reference? Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
There was a time, man, for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, there was a time when Dan Lefevre and Central Michigan were the heartbeat of college football, and I'm not even really exaggerating. Like, he was a folk hero, not just a player. They were once great, those Chippewas. They're not great now.
No.
And Michigan's going to lay waste to them. So you're 2-1 or 3-0, and you got to go for your first conference game to Lincoln to play the Cornhuskers. Ooh, that is an interesting game.
Mm-hmm.
It's an interesting game because Nebraska has a brand new defensive coordinator, although he's a promotion from in-house, so it's not like it's a new defense.
True.
It's the same defense that they're playing, but they replace a lot, including, all-world defensive linemen, Nash Hutmacher and Ty Robinson.
Yep.
Those guys were unbelievable. And here's the thing, and Nebraska fans are going to get so mad when I say this now and later. I can already imagine it. Nebraska has not proven, like Michigan has, that they can just reload on the D-line.
Yeah.
They have not proven that.
Yeah.
I honestly think this is a bad matchup for Nebraska, man. Because the places where they're strong is in the secondary, and the place where their question marks is up front. And I just think Michigan is going to eat their lunch up front.
I mean, yeah, I think what's going to happen is Nebraska is going to look good and put up a really good fight in the first half, maybe even into the third quarter, and it's going to
be a good game, really good
game. And they're going to give Michigan a scare. Like I think they will. I think
Dylan Raiola is going to have it going early. I can see it.
Oh yeah, and then I think again, you look like it's just going to come down to attrition, and I think by the end of it, Nebraska's defensive line isn't going to be able to withstand that running game. And especially now that they have a quarterback who is also incredibly mobile and maybe can actually throw the ball as well. I think it's going to come down to Michigan. I think it could be a closer game though. I'm not entirely sure that it's going to be a blowout.
No. I don't think it's going to be a blowout either.
Yeah. But I think I think it's going to be Michigan coming out on top at the end though.
Yeah, the thing is, I just think Michigan's so strong at linebacker and in the secondary.
Yeah.
That I think Dylan Raiola will have success early because Dana Holgerson is a good coordinator and he will scheme stuff up, right?
Yep.
But when they run out of things to scheme up, I'm not convinced. Like, I like their receivers. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I like them enough to say they're going to win consistently against Michigan.
Yeah.
I just don't see that.
Yeah.
So you're 3-1 or 4-0, potentially nationally ranked. When you get to a bye week, and I think this is a really good time to have a bye week with a young quarterback.
Yep.
You've played one big out-of-conference game, one big conference game. Now you get 2 weeks to get ready to host the Wisconsin Badgers. And man, I kind of almost – no, I don't feel for Wisconsin. I don't, even a little bit.
No.
But they might be running into a buzzsaw here, John.
Yeah.
Because with 2 weeks to get ready – they're going to pull out the whole playbook.
Mm-hmm.
Get ready for some like Cam Newton Auburn stuff. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, I think they're going to go deep into the well, and Wisconsin might be out of this game before they're even in this game. You know what I mean? Because I think Michigan could grind them with like 2 consecutive long methodical 7 to 12 play touchdown drives where they're just gashing them on the ground, and Wisconsin's new look D line is not ready for, coming off like 1 week's rest. Like, let's see. Let me look. I'll look at what Wisconsin has the week before.
I also just think that Billy Edwards Jr. is going to be running for his freaking life.
Oh, interesting. Wisconsin has a bye too.
Okay.
So that helped. That's in Wisconsin's favor. But dude, yeah. What are they going to do against that Michigan defensive front?
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately. Like, I think Wisconsin will be better this year up front.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to be Michigan good up front.
No.
Yeah.
I think Wisconsin might be able to hang for a bit in the first half, but I think it's going to look like Michigan's taking over by the end of the first half and then just kind of, running the ball down their throat for the whole second half until they give up. So and defensively, I think Michigan's defense is just going to look dominant the entire time. And I don't think Billy Edwards Jr. is going to be able to do much of anything.
Yeah. And man, even if Michigan has to settle for field goals, man, they've got an automatic field goal kicker.
Yeah.
Like, that's a weapon, dude, especially with a team. If a team isn't executing in the red zone or whatever, or even not executing, like, that can be big for you in games where things aren't always going your way.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think that plays in Michigan's favor, also the specialists. All right, so we've got Michigan 4-1, 5-0, undefeated in conference. Probably, honestly, with Michigan being the brand name they are, if they lose to Oklahoma and it's because Bryce Underwood looks like he's in it over his head, but then he plays better against Nebraska and Wisconsin, Michigan will probably be ranked.
Yeah.
Even at 4-1, they're probably ranked here. Yeah. When they go to USC to take on the Trojans. And John, this to me is one of the games of the year in the Big Ten. Games of the year in the Big Ten. Because these are both teams who are legit helmet schools who struggled last year. Both have coaches who need it pretty bad. Sharon Moore, not as much as Lincoln Riley, but both coaches who are, being questioned, and just a boatload of talent on either side of the ball. So this is really interesting to me, John. I think a lot of this comes down to Jaden Mayava versus Bryce Underwood. I saw you out of the corner of your eye. Roll. You looked. So for those of you who are just listening, John looked to the side because he didn't want to see me and us to see him roll his eyes, but then he rolled his eyes a little bit anyway. All right, what are you gonna say?
Look, it's just Jaden Mayava, man. He's got to prove me wrong. He's got to prove us wrong. That he can be better than what we saw last year. Is that possible? Yeah, absolutely. And if he is, then I will pick USC to win this game if he is. But if he's not, then I just think Michigan runs away with it. Now, the reason I'm saying if he is because I do believe that USC has a lot of weapons on the offense. I think if Mayava can be a better quarterback, even like 50% more, better, or 30% more. I mean, whatever, like than what he was doing last year. He can just throw a few, less ducks in the air and be more accurate. It's possible. I think it's very possible that their offense could be, their passing game could be really, really good, and they've got some really good weapons there.
Yes.
We've talked about how we do think their defense is going to step up, and their offensive line and whatnot. But yeah, I don't want to say outright that USC is going to win, but I also feel like that I can't say that same about Michigan either in this game. I think it's tough to go out to LA. USC is going to be out for blood because they also felt like they got cheated last year.
Yes,
by
they
Michigan.
Do. They're going to want revenge bad.
So I think it's more of a coin flippy game for me. If I had to lean somewhere, I would actually probably be leaning towards USC at this point, but not by much. Like a sliver.
Interesting. Yeah. So I think that I'm really torn. USC has to prove it to me up front.
Sure.
And until USC proves to me that they're as good as Michigan on the line of scrimmage, because I think it comes down to, okay, if USC can't run the ball, then it's all about Jaden Mayava. Yeah. I don't like that as a game script.
Yeah.
I don't think that is a game that ends well for USC. But it's at home.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got this as pretty much a coin flip too. But if I have to pick, I'm leaning Michigan because I think they have better players on both lines of scrimmage.
Okay. Yeah.
And if I can't judge, if the quarterback battle is going to be close, which I think it is, then I'm going with the team that's better up front. This is the Big Ten after all.
Well, at this point, if Mayava is not the guy, shouldn't we assume that Hassan Longstreet is playing?
Yes.
So there you go.
And then all bets are off. You got two true freshman quarterbacks.
Exactly. Yeah.
I did see a highlight of Hassan Longstreet throwing a 60-yard bomb to Mekhi Lemon.
Yeah.
It looked good.
Yep.
It might be Jaden Mayava. I hope you're studying the playbook, man. Because Longstreet's coming for you. He's coming.
Mm-hmm.
So you better hold on tight if you want to keep this job. That's where I think it is.
I'm with you. So again, this is like a 50-50 game.
50-50. Michigan preview. So we'll say coin flip to Michigan win.
Sure.
So we've got Michigan between 0 and 2 losses here. And then they host Washington. This game scares me a lot for Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
Because you've got Michigan State next week, right? So you've got Washington before Michigan State, after USC. If you beat USC and you're looking ahead to Michigan State, there could be a letdown. And there could be a letdown when you're playing the arguably the most dynamic dual threat quarterback in the Big Ten.
Mm-hmm.
One of the best running backs in Jonah Coleman in the Big Ten. And one of the best wide receivers in Denzel Boston in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
I think Washington gets them here, man. I think it's a bad. I think they catch them, and I don't know. I just have a feeling, and I think that when you look at Washington and what Ryan Walters wants to do, he wants to play press man, F you, I dare you to get open football.
Mm-hmm.
That might be a good strategy against Michigan this year.
So are you saying that Washington wins or beats Michigan 2 years in a row?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm not saying, you can talk me out of it, and we should put this down officially as a coin flip or a Michigan win, because I'm probably wrong. And Michigan has the better talent, and Michigan has better line of scrimmage play. But I just think where this shows up in the schedule after several games in a row, or as one of several games in a row, I don't know, man. It scares me. It scares me a lot.
Well, last year they played Michigan lost to Washington after they played Minnesota when Minnesota should have won that game. And so that's where that came about. But Washington beat them 27-17. And
and we think Washington has significantly improved at quarterback, probably.
I think so too. I think Damon Williams is going to be a lot better. And it's tough, man. I agree with you.
It's tough because Michigan's going to run for 300 yards.
Yeah, I think what it's going to come down to is explosive plays. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah,
and I think on the line of scrimmage, yes, Michigan's going to be dominant. In the running game, I feel like it's going to break even because they have Jonah Coleman, so who's a freak,
and Damon Williams.
So you've got that, But yeah, I think it's a bad game for Michigan. I do too.
I don't like it. It gives me a bad, Michigan should win it, right? I'm going to say that. Michigan should beat Washington.
Mm-hmm.
But where it comes in the schedule scares the bejesus out of me, because Washington's going to get some people this year. I don't know who.
Yeah.
But they're going to get some people. So Michigan fans, Michigan players, circle that one.
Mm-hmm.
Don't have a let up between USC and at Michigan State,
Yeah.
Especially, man, if they lose to USC and the crowd is kind of not as good for Washington.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't know, man, it gets dangerous. So, but that said, Michigan could also be undefeated here very easily.
Yeah.
And then they go to play their second biggest rival, their in-state rival, the Michigan State Spartans. You go for it.
I think Aiden Childs goes nuts. Heisman candidate performance here. Michigan looks silly, and Aiden Childs carry off the field with Paul Bunyan. That's
really.
Man. Honestly, I think at this point in the season, if Aiden Childs is the guy, I think it's possible. I think it's possible for Michigan State to win this game.
Oh, yeah.
Would I pick it right now? No. But
no.
Is it possible? Do I think Sparty's going to be more dangerous this year than what a lot of people are giving them credit for? I do. I actually do believe Aiden Childs is going to be much improved. And I'm not just saying that as a joke. I actually do think that if he will fix, or if he can fix his mistakes, he can protect the ball more. I think he has a very high ceiling and could be an absolute stud. So, and he's got the weapons to throw to. So I think that there's a possibility for Michigan State to win this game. As of right now, though, no, I'm picking Michigan, but potential upset for sure.
In year 2, I just don't think Michigan State's ready on the line of scrimmage again.
Okay.
Michigan is so tough up front.
Mm-hmm.
And, and they're going to be out for blood like they always are. And it's going to be chippy like it always is. And they're going to get Michigan's best shot. And I think it's close for a while, 2-3 quarters. I think eventually the Michigan running game breaks that Joe Rossi defense.
Yeah.
Because Joe Rossi's going to play bend but don't break. And I think eventually he's going to bend too far and break.
Sure. You can see it.
If it were a more attacking defensive coordinator, just saying this might not be the best matchup to play a Joe Rossi style of defense. Against Michigan, I think you want to be more aggressive this year. force the issue, force them to prove they can beat you downfield.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Then you get to host Purdue.
I don't have anything to say other than I think it's a win.
Yeah. That's going to be a big win. It's a home game, and that one's going to be over pretty much from the time they roll out the helmets and kick the ball.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, they're all 3 games, Purdue, Northwestern, and Maryland. I really,
And don't bury the lead. They have another bye after Purdue, which is clutch.
Yeah.
To get ready for that closing straight. So yeah, at Northwestern doesn't have the athletes to hang.
Mm-hmm.
At Maryland doesn't have the athletes to hang. Not now. They're both in bad shapes. I don't even know if those schools will still have coaches at this point.
Yeah. I mean, this sets up so well for Michigan for the game again, to possibly beat Ohio State again.
Mm-hmm. They basically have a month to get ready for Ohio State.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like to some extent.
I'm
not saying that they don't have to bring it against Northwestern and Maryland.
Yeah.
But not the Jimmies and Joes are going to be pretty disparate up there.
Yeah.
And, again, Northwestern has like one receiver, and does Maryland have any linemen? Like any at all? So you go into that Ohio State game, you got it at home. It's the game. It could be, so we've got Michigan. How many coin flips do we have? We've got
2, USC and Nebraska. Or no,
USC. No, we've got Oklahoma, Nebraska,
USC, and Washington,
USC, and Washington as coin flips.
Yeah.
So Michigan could be playing if they go 1 for 3 in those games.
Yeah.
This could be for the college football playoff.
Yep.
To get to 10-2. Oh man, can you imagine if Michigan gets into the playoff off of winning the game? The meltdown in Columbus would be. I don't even want to. If Ryan Day somehow loses again, this time to a true freshman quarterback, I don't have any words, man. I don't have any words for what it's going to be like. It's going to be a kind of Schadenfreude the world has rarely experienced as enjoyed by these Michigan fans.
Yeah.
And, if one of the losses is Oklahoma,
mm-hmm.
right? And then they win either Washington or USC, then they're playing for the Big Ten title.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're going to have one loss. And then if they beat Ohio State, they're playing for the Big Ten title.
Yeah.
Man, I bet Ryan Day is game planning right now.
He better be.
Just grinding film.
Yeah.
Just grinding it. And but he's got Texas, so probably not right now. But when he gets back to his non-conference games, he's going to be grinding Michigan film again of Bryce Underwood.
Mm-hmm.
This sets up really well for Michigan, doesn't it, John?
I think so too. Yeah.
Oh, man. And
bare minimum, they better win 9 games. Bare minimum, yeah.
It's a really favorable schedule.
Yeah.
No Penn State, no Oregon.
No Minnesota.
No Illinois, no Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
No Iowa.
Yeah.
None of the Big Ten, middle class, they get to ignore almost entirely, other than Washington and Nebraska and,
Yeah.
Isn't it weird every time we don't mention Wisconsin with them? It's like a little weird, right?
It just hasn't been, and
but it hasn't been.
We're not even trying to slight them. It's just the way it is right now.
It's just where we're at right now.
Right now. Not to say it can't change, but
could change this year. Right, could be changed by the end of September.
Yeah.
That's college football. It's always changing. It's ever, that's part of why we love it. But
I don't hate it.
Burying the lead, man. I think there's a better than average chance that Michigan makes the college football playoff this year.
Yeah, I do too. I would be surprised if they don't, to be honest.
Especially if they beat Oklahoma.
Yeah.
If they beat Oklahoma, boy, look out, world. Here come the Wolverines. But even if they don't, they could still make the playoff easily.
Yeah.
Because they'd have to they'd have to either run the table until they played Ohio State and lose, or drop one along the way and then beat Ohio State, which they've shown they can do.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, man, it's like at a point where I think Ohio State's going to beat Michigan, but that doesn't matter. Because Michigan has owned them
last year.
Yeah, I thought there was no chance last year.
Mm-hmm.
And Michigan gave it to them. So I got to put it as a coin flip. I can't put that as an Ohio State loss to start. So I count 8 wins and 4 coin flips. And man, if those coin flips come up, 50-50 or 75-25, Michigan's going to have a special season.
Yep.
Unless Bryce Underwood isn't ready for the pressure and just implodes. But I don't think that's going to happen because he's the number 1 recruit, not just at quarterback, but in his entire recruiting class. And those guys don't usually bust. Last year, that was Jeremiah Smith.
Yeah.
Those guys do not usually bust. The number 1 recruit in the whole class. So I hate to say it, man, but is Michigan back? I feel like Michigan's back.
I feel like they could be. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, we should move on.
Yeah, we should move on. Let's bust through Nebraska here.
Yeah, we don't want to give the Cornhuskers short shrift at all. Cool. All right. Let's talk about Nebraska, the Cornhuskers. Matt Rule. All right. Let me just run through Matt Rule quick. So Rule was a walk-on linebacker at Penn State for 4 years, in which he excelled in the classroom, earning all academic honors numerous times. Started at linebackers coach at Albright College, worked as a defensive coach at Buffalo, UCLA, Western Carolina, and then at Temple, he started as D-line coach and then switched to quarterbacks coach. So that's really interesting because Rule has coached a lot on defense and offense. And I think that must inform what he does as an offensive coach. He was the New York Giants assistant OL coach for a year, and then he became Temple's head coach, where he took a moribund program, turned them around in just a few years. He did the same thing at Baylor. His meteoric rise got him to the NFL, where he coached for the Carolina Panthers for a few years and then got fired after a failed tenure there. But John, Rule at Temple, 2-10, 6-6. Then in year 3, not only did they go 10-4, 7-1 in conference, but they beat Penn State 27-10. First time the Owls had beaten Penn State since 1941. Then the next year, Temple wins the conference at 10-3, 7-1. At Baylor, it was even more drastic. Started out 1-11 Rule's first year, 7-6 in year 2. Then they go 11-3, 8-1, made the Big 12 championship game in year 3. And then he went to the NFL. So, John, at Nebraska, Rule has gone 5-7, 3-6 in the Big 10, 7-6, also 3-6 in the Big 10. What happens in year 3? Is it like Temple and Baylor? Are the Huskers going to win 10+ games? The schedule is pretty favorable. However, this is the Big 10. This is the pinnacle of college football. Can the Cornhuskers awaken the echoes and win 10 games and go to the college football playoff or something?
Well, I think this year Patrick Mahomes is going to change his name to Dylan Raiola, and Nebraska Cornhuskers are going to go 11-1 with their only loss to Minnesota.
Yes,
because that's just college. That's just the way it has to be.
How it goes.
Yeah. And they're gonna win it all. And the national media will never mention that loss to Minnesota, though. They'll cover it up and
they'll pretend like it didn't happen.
And Nebraska, they'll be back, and they're going to win every national title for the next 70, 80 years. So that's how it's going to go. So I don't have nothing else to say. That's it, really. That's my whole breakdown. So
that's your breakdown in Nebraska. Yeah. That's funny.
I mean, I know that's what they would a lot of others may or like to think, but that's no. I have a lot more to say. Obviously, I kid. I have to give Nebraska Cornhusker fans a hard time because
they give us a hard time, but we love you.
We do.
We love you, and we appreciate you, Nebraska fans.
And honestly, we envy the delusion of your fan base, because I wish we had a little bit more in Minnesota instead of our pessimism, which is constantly
Oh yeah.
annoying to both Mike and I. We hate it. It's ridiculous. Like the constant like, oh, we're never gonna win anything. Let's win as Minnesota. Whoa, whoa.
Yeah.
Like yeah, it's
You never get that with
infuriating.
Nebraska fans. Nebraska
No,
fans are like, it is now. This is the moment. Every day is the greatest day I've
yeah,
ever the rest of my life. Like you're like Nebraska fans would be the best at writing a self-help book of
seriously.
any fan base in the Big Ten
Yeah.
because they can find the silver lining of anything.
I mean, they were going around for years being like, we're the best 3-9 team to ever exist. I'm like,
They said that like it was
who
a real
says that?
thing.
But they did, and they
They
believe
did
it.
say it.
And I envy that type of mindset. I think
Yeah.
that's a beautiful thing.
It is.
So good for you guys. Anyway, so
I do think they're going to be, spoiler alert though, Husker fans, I do think you're going to be improved this year. And remember, we both picked you to go 6-6 last year.
Yep.
And you went 6-6.
Yep.
So I think we both said 6-6, 7-5.
Yep.
And that was a very favorable schedule, and it didn't happen.
Yeah.
So you may not always love us, Nebraska fans, but we've been pretty accurate. And I think, John, with the way the schedule lines up and what the Huskers have back, I think they're going to be better this year.
I think so too. And again, let us also be clear that we have always spoken highly of Matt Rule.
Yes,
we do
Matt
believe in
Rule's
Matt
a great
Rule.
coach.
We think he's a great coach. So please, any criticisms we have of Nebraska, like we really actually respect what Matt Rule is doing and what he's building at that program. And we think it's going to get better. So just to kind of break down a little bit here with Nebraska's offense, last year as we talked about, they did finish 7-6. They won their bowl game, securing their first winning season since 2016. And they scored just 23.5 points per game, ranked 103rd out of 134 FBS teams. Their total offense was 94th overall with 359 yards per game. Passing was 65th with 228.4 yards per game, and their rushing was 96th with 130.6 yards per game.
That's brutal.
Yeah, it lacked it lacked consistency. Scoring 30 plus points only 3 times and being held to 20 or fewer in 7 of the last 8 games.
Didn't they hang half 100 on Wisconsin though?
Yeah, they did, and that's just it. Like it was so.
It got better under Holgorsen.
They did. Yes. When Holgorsen really took over and got into a groove, I think it really improved a lot. And that's why I do expect better things this year.
Yeah.
So, I expect there to be growth with Dylan Raiola. He made some, predictable mistakes last year. I think a lot of that will be fixed with more experience. I think there's a lot of upside, as we've seen. If only he could stop, cosplaying as Patrick Mahomes, I would probably like him a lot more. I think everybody would, but that's a whole nother thing. Yeah,
it is a little weird. Like I think Raiola is great. He seems like a good guy. He's got a good attitude, but it's like, dude, you can just be yourself.
Be you. Well, you come from like a great pedigree, like another Nebraska freaking legend. Like just be that,
you, man. You don't need to be anybody else.
Yeah, like you're great. Be Dylan Raiola, please, for God's sake.
Yes.
But
be you, Dylan.
Yeah,
and we're being serious. Like
I am serious.
Do it. Yeah,
I would love that. And where I see this really improving on the offense is that offensive line, man. They got Elijah Pritchett, and they have Rocco Spindler from Notre Dame. Elijah Pritchett from Alabama and Rocco Spindler from Notre Dame are gonna be, in my opinion, just outstanding, fantastic on the line of scrimmage. They also bring back redshirt senior Henry Latovsky, redshirt junior Justin Evans at center, and Teddy Prochaska, redshirt senior. So their offensive line is old and experienced.
And dude, I don't even think you said the best one, Turner Corcoran.
Oh yeah, my bad. Yeah,
he's a beast. Like he's tough. So like they're gonna be they could be a lot better up front.
I think they have the experience. They have the talent. I think up front they could be really, really, really good. I think they're going to be able to protect Dylan Raiola, allow him to give him the time to be able to get to his receivers. And speaking of which, you got Dane Key, who's a senior transfer, who I also think is going to be, I'm really high on. and Isaiah Hunter, who's a redshirt sophomore transfer, who I think is also going to be pretty good. And then you got Ja'Cory Barney Jr., who's going to be solid. I think he's a solid slot receiver.
He's fast.
Yeah, very fast.
And that's what you want from that position. You want a guy who can stretch the defense a little bit, make it and make sure that, you know, the safeties have to help and that your top two receivers can get one-on-one matchups. That's what you want that guy to, you know, you want him to pose that deep threat.
Mm-hmm. So I think there's a lot here, you know, and we've talked about this already. It's the running back room that I have questions. Now, Emmett Johnson definitely had some production last year. I think, you know, he showed some flashes, but I'm not sold on his ability to be like anything more than like an average Big Ten running back.
Yeah.
I don't.
That's the weak link on offense is the running back room.
Exactly. Everywhere else, I think they're going to be improved. Yes. I really do. It's the running.
And how good is sophomore Quinn Knives as a backup? Like, he's a good short yardage option, sure, but is he a guy who can like carry the load or no?
Well, I mean, they're looking. I feel like they're actually leaning a little bit more towards Mekhi Nelson in a way. I mean, Quentin. It's pretty even right now from what I've been reading, but you know, someone else has got to step up because they obviously can't just rely on Emmett Johnson.
You can't just give Emmett Johnson 35 touches a game.
No,
you need to, like, as much as Matt Rule wants to run the ball, you need someone else to be at least an average Big Ten running back.
Yeah,
and you need Emmett Johnson to be a better than average Big Ten running back.
Yep. So I think the offense is going to be better.
Yeah.
Dylan Raiola will obviously have to minimize mistakes. He'll have to do a little bit better than that, or this year than he did last year. Not that it was like horrible for a true freshman, but he's going to have to do that. I think there's fantastic additions to the offensive line and wide receiver. I do think Dane Key from Kentucky and Isaiah Hunter are going to bring a little bit more physicality to the receiving core than what they had last year.
Yeah.
And then at tight end, you know, honestly, I don't really know what to think about the tight end room. They have Luke Lindenmeyer, who's a redshirt junior, and I think this is right, but I think Heinrich Harburg is a
tight end now, and he's gonna apparently start or be the second number 1 or 2 tight end, which for a former quarterback is amazing.
Great athlete.
Yeah,
he actually has some wheels, so I think he's pretty fast too. So
maybe he can be an option in the receiving game.
Yeah.
He's obviously got decent ball skills. He was a quarterback, you know, and I think he can probably catch the ball.
And from what I heard a little bit on like his background is like, he bleeds red, man.
Right.
Like he is 100% like,
well, because otherwise he would have transferred somewhere he could have played quarterback.
Yeah.
He could have gone to an FCS school or something and played quarterback. You know, he did not. He wanted to be a Cornhusker.
When it comes to heart and love for his team, I think this kid's it. So yeah. I hope he has a good season.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll also be interesting, I'd say, at wide receiver to see if either the freshman is any good, Isaiah Mosey or Cortez Mills, see if either one of those guys pops, because those guys were highly rated recruits.
Yep.
So I'm curious about that. And yeah, I think the offense is going to, you know, what were they, 104th or 3rd in scoring or something?
Yeah.
They've got to be better than that this year.
Yes, they do.
They've got to. And I think a lot of that is just going to be year 2 with Dylan Raiola.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, last year he threw 11 picks, which isn't great, but he completed 67% of his passes.
Yeah. Well,
like,
also
remember, he's not he can sling the rock.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And remember, dude, we said it all last offseason about how Satterfield is going to be the death of this offense. And he was.
And he was, and he got fired midseason.
And thank freaking God for the Husker fan base, because we've been saying it all last year, the year prior, everything like that. And like, it's just too bad it took that long. But I think they got a good guy in place for that.
No, I agree with you for sure. Anything else? Any other offensive thoughts before we move to defense?
No, I think that's good.
All right. I also just want to say what I always say about Dana Holgorsen. I don't think he's a nice person, but he is a great offensive mind. And he is going to be such an upgrade game planning. There are going to be games where Nebraska catches the defense with their pants down and they score, 3 times before you even blink, because Dana Holgorsen sees a weakness and just attacks it.
Yeah.
So I believe that's coming, and I think, Nebraska is going to be really improved. On defense, Tony White leaves for Florida State after a dominant 2-year stint as defensive coordinator. Nebraska was great the past couple of years, largely due to stellar D-line play, with Nash Hutmacher and Ty Robinson just annihilating opposing teams' running games. Will this new-look Cornhusker D continue to be as stingy as they've been the past couple of years? The new DC is John Butler, who was elevated from secondary coach to DC when White left. Butler has had a long and varied career. He was an assistant coach for 1 year at his alma mater, Catholic University. He's been a graduate assistant at Texas. He's been to Midwestern State, Southwest Texas State, Harvard, Minnesota, South Carolina, Penn State, before he became a DC again at Penn State. Then he was secondary coach of the Houston Texans and Buffalo Bills before becoming Nebraska's secondary coach last year. So this is a guy with experience. He knows how to call plays. This isn't his first rodeo. He's been around. So I think Butler will do a decent job as DC.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's ready for the opportunity. He'll continue to run that patented 3-3-5 defense, which is what Nebraska has been recruiting to and playing with. So, D-line, you've got Riley Van Poppel, all-name team candidate, Cameron Lenhart, Elijah Judy, all former four-star prospects who will be counted on to contribute this year. The staff landed a difference maker in the portal and D-line transfer, Williams Nwaneri from Mizzou. But there's a lot of question marks up here, John. There's a lot of guys who haven't played a lot, and they're going to be counted on to play a lot and to produce. So it's going to be really interesting to see what we get from that and what the learning curve is there. Likewise, excuse me, the top 4 linebackers are gone from last year's team. Rule went to the transfer portal and got Oklahoma's Dasan McCullough and Sunbelt Defender of the Year winner Marquess Watson Trent from Georgia Southern. So that's good. You got Javin Wright, Willis McGahee. Yes, that's right. That's his name. And Vincent Shavers also competing for time there. And the secondary, you got 4 starters returning. So this should be the strength of the defense. Deshaun Singleton could have gone pro, but returns as the do-it-all rover position. He's listed at safety, but he'll line up all over to wreak havoc on the opposing teams. Cornerback Sierra Wright, safety Malcolm Hartzog, and a safety, says Sweaty, safety Marcus Buford return. Freshman Donovan Jones could start at the other cornerback. Jeremiah Charles, Andrew Marshall, Braylon Prude, Caleb Benning, and Justin Rhett will also be in the 2 deep. So this should be a good and experienced secondary with legit playmakers in it. John, the question is, with a brand new defensive line, with brand new linebackers, none of which have played in the Big Ten. They have one linebacker coming in, who has the Sun Belt Player of the Year. So he's had 300 tackle seasons. I think he'll be good. I think he'll translate. But can they stop the run?
And a brand new defensive coordinator, right? Yeah.
Yeah. He was promoted, though. So it's not a new defense.
Yeah, sorry.
It's not a new defense.
Yeah,
it's just it's the same. I feel like that's different.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
It's the same scheme. You're not learning new things. It's not, yeah.
No, fair. But yes,
you don't have to change how you recruit or anything. Like, you're doing the same thing.
But as far as the question on D-line, though, stopping the run, yeah, that's a big question mark. I agree with that.
That is my question mark for this team.
Yeah.
I think there are 2 things. Can Nebraska run the ball consistently? Can they stop the run consistently?
Mm-hmm.
Those are big questions, John.
Yeah.
There's a big variance with this team.
Well, because you have to do both of those things in the Big Ten. And if
in the Big Ten,
then you're going to lose games.
And it's possible that Nebraska could be a lot better stopping the run later in the year than they are early in the year when new guys are adjusting.
Yeah.
But it's also possible that it's the kind of thing you can't get fixed in 1 year. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I think Nebraska is the highest. I think Nebraska and Minnesota are really high variance teams for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think Minnesota has more of a proven track record because they have PJ Fleck. He's been there longer.
Mm-hmm.
But Matt Rule and Nebraska, man, they could be a lot of things this year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just really curious to find out because I think the secondary is good, really good.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to make it so that teams have to run the ball against Nebraska.
Yeah.
And it's like, can they run the ball against Nebraska?
Yeah, man. I mean, look, as we've said many times before, and much to Nebraska Husker fans' dismay, PJ and Matt Rule are very similar.
Very similar.
And so
big slogans, big
Yep.
personalities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right, Husker fans. They are. And I know you hate that, but it's the truth.
It is.
So, but I do. Speaking of that, though, is why I do have a lot of faith in Matt Rule and his ability to get the most out of these players.
Yes.
Are there problems, glaring issues in, like you said, like we talked about the running game and stopping the run? Yes. But do I think it's possible that Matt Rule gets the best out of those positions and they're able to produce enough that they can get by and win some of these games and stop losing these one-score games? Or at least not lose all of them anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so they can win some of them.
Yeah.
I think it's possible. Absolutely.
Yeah, right on. All right, should we play the schedule game?
Let's do it.
Oh, wait, I forgot to say specialists.
Oh, yes.
My bad. There's no way to sugarcoat it, John. The special teams have been bad under Rule. Kicker John Hole returns, but he made just 10 of 15 field goal attempts last year, which is not great. Punter should be Jack McAllister. At punt return, kick return, it's dicey to predict, but I've got Kenneth Williams at kick return and Andrew Marshall at punt return. I don't know, man. I worry about these Husker special teams. They're going to be in those one-score games. I don't think they have a reliable kicker.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's not a thing where you're going to find out. It's like either he's improved or he's the same guy he was last year.
Yeah.
And if he's the same guy he was last year, then you don't have a reliable kicker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, obviously we know how problematic that is. Again, welcome to the club of not having consistently good special teams.
Yes. Yes. We feel your pain, Nebraska.
See, you're just like us, Nebraska.
You're just
like
they're
us.
so much more like us than we think they are, even.
Than they think they are.
Yeah, I know.
A lot of us are aware of it. Gopher fans are pretty aware.
No, you're right. That's a good point. It's the Husker fans who don't. Yeah. All right, let's play the schedule game.
Let's do it.
All right. Nebraska also, I had to rip this off a random site because you didn't have anything good on your website. Just saying.
Jeez. What's
I know.
These two.
Weird. It's weird to me.
Yeah.
All right. So you start out with a neutral site game against Cincinnati in Kansas City. First of all, that thing is going to be what, 75% Husker fans?
Yeah, of course.
Like, I don't know why why would you ever agree to a neutral site team to a neutral site game with a team that travels significantly better than you do?
Mm-hmm.
That seems like a mistake. Cincinnati is at the bottom of the Big 12. Scott Satterfield has not been a consistent, successful coach really ever since. I think, wasn't he pretty good at Appalachian State? And then since he got up here, hasn't been great at the power conference level.
Yeah.
Because he was at Louisville and he basically took the Cincinnati job to not get fired at Louisville.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't have a lot of faith in Cincy, man.
No. I don't either. And I think, again, I agree. I think it's going to be basically a home game for Nebraska. Plus, neutral site games, for the most part, are awful and terrible ideas. But I know we're probably going to be getting more of them as time goes on, which I hate. But that's the way it is.
So then you get the Akron Zips. They are a bad MAC team. That looks like 2-0 to me. And then Houston Christian, it says HCU on the screen. I had to look that up to see what that was because I didn't realize that Houston Christian was even a team. So that's 3-0. Feeling great. Honestly, man, Dylan Raiola puts up big stats. He could be a contender for the September Heisman.
Yeah.
September. Which is a real thing.
Yeah.
That people talk about in September. I'm not making fun of Dylan Raiola. That's a real thing people will say, which I think is silly. But I'm making fun of the media, not Dylan Raiola. Just to be clear.
Yes.
I think Dylan Raiola is a legit contender for the September Heisman, especially if when they host the Michigan Wolverines, what if Nebraska beats Michigan? Can you imagine the hype?
Oh, the national media, The national media will finally have everything they've ever been drooling over for the past 20 years, and that's what they're gonna go nuts.
Nebraska would immediately be ranked in the top 15, no questions asked.
Yep. It doesn't
And
matter where they were before. Yeah.
no, it doesn't matter where they were. They would, if they're not in the rankings, then they will enter at that point.
Yeah.
John, this is a monster game against Michigan.
Oh, it is.
And you've got a bye week after that.
Yep.
So you can put it all in for Michigan. And with those first 3 games, like, yeah, Cincinnati, they're good enough. You probably have to take them seriously. Houston Christian is not good enough that you have to take them seriously.
No.
So you can spend pretty much 2.5 weeks getting ready for Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
And they better be ready. Because I think that Michigan running game is going to be ridiculous.
Well, and like you said, like we already went over, Michigan also has a bye week, so they're going to be ready.
Yeah. Go on.
No, go ahead. I was just going to say that I do. We already talked about it, and I do think Michigan wins this game. But yes, if Nebraska does find a way to do it, we're never going to hear the end of it. Even if Nebraska were to lose the rest of the season, we would still never hear the end of it. So.
Oh, dude, it would be on the Big Ten's greatest games like once a week forever.
Yes.
You know?
Yep.
So yeah, if Nebraska, we've got you losing that one, you'd be 3-1. But if you win that game, all bets are off. We're talking college football playoff upside. I'm serious.
Yeah.
If Nebraska wins that game.
Possible.
Yeah. Okay, so then you've got an off week, and then
back to Michigan
State, but you get to host them also.
Yep.
I think this is a pretty good matchup for Nebraska here.
Yeah.
Sparty's rebuilding. Yes, they're dangerous with Aiden Childs and Nick Marsh, but we don't know what we're going to get out of the running game.
Yeah.
And I think because Nebraska's strength is the secondary, I think Sparty's strength is going to be Aiden Childs' playmaking, both with his feet and with his arm.
Mm-hmm.
I think that because Nebraska has a good secondary, that this is a game that the Cornhuskers should win.
I think they should win as well. I think it'll be a close game, but I think Nebraska should be able to pull this out. Yes.
Yeah. All right. And then you got to go on the road, but it's to Maryland. And I mean,
it's Maryland.
It's Maryland, man. They're in bad shape. They're in the hurt bag. I think we've talked a lot on this show about how they've lost all their guys in the transfer portal, and it's like they're rebuilding perpetually, and they have a true freshman quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have any line of scrimmage players. Nebraska's going to name their score here, man.
Yeah, I agree.
They're going to run.
It's not good. Yeah, it's just not good for Maryland right now.
And then, so you got Nebraska at, let's say, we'll say 4-1 or 5-1. Pretty good. Probably, potentially, if the Michigan game is a close loss, or if they win, Nebraska's nationally ranked at this point. If they win, they're nationally ranked high against Michigan. If they lose, but it's like a good game, I think they'd still be ranked at 5-1.
Yeah.
When they go to Dinkytown, which has kind of been a Huskers' house of horrors.
Yep.
Nebraska has lost, they've lost Minnesota 5 straight times, but I think in Dinkytown, it's going back longer than that.
I think
it's been a long time.
Yeah.
I think like 10 plus years since Nebraska beat the Gophers in Dinkytown.
Mm-hmm.
So this has been a house of horrors for Nebraska. PJ Fleck seems to always get his teams extra up for Nebraska. I think there's a little bit of a, PJ would say a crack on his shoulder, but that doesn't make any sense. It's from a wood chip, PJ. It's a chip on your shoulder because it comes from chipping wood. Like you're working on the wood and the chips come off. It's not like he thinks a crack is like a bigger chip. No, that's not what we're doing here. So I love you, PJ. It's a chip on your shoulder that you have, not a crack, but it's a chip he does have.
Yes.
I think this is a bad matchup for Nebraska because Minnesota has 2 of the 6 best running backs in the Big Ten.
Yes.
I mean, they have the best outside of Penn State, Minnesota, outside of Penn State and maybe Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
Minnesota has the next best backfield in the Big Ten with Darius Taylor and A.J. Turner. And Drake Lindsey, yes, he's a first-year starter, but we're pretty far into the year at this point where we're over halfway through the season.
Yeah.
So I think if you want to catch Minnesota, you want to catch them early for sure. Obviously, Nebraska fans are all picking this as a Nebraska win. I saw one that didn't even list it as a nail biter. A Nebraska fan site that said this was a for sure win. And I was just like, do you watch the games, man? Like, I mean, Minnesota has owned this series. And that doesn't mean that Nebraska's going to win, not going to win this year.
Yeah.
They could.
But they do the same thing every year.
But Minnesota's going to be favored in this game.
Yeah.
Like, Nebraska, just so you know, if you go to bet on this, Minnesota's going to be favored in this game.
Mm-hmm. It's just, it's, it just boggles my mind, the lack of respect that a lot of these people have for the program at Minnesota. And that's the national media's fault, a lot of it, because that's what a lot of those fans listen to. Yeah. Despite like facts and results on the field, which is something.
But Iowa doesn't get the respect either, man. It's not just us.
Yeah, it's true.
Think how good Iowa's been.
Yeah.
How many times they win 10 games and all everybody talks about is their faults.
Yep. Yeah.
It's
true.
It's a weird thing that you would do to some teams that aren't helmet schools, is try to pretend like they're less than they are.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's weird. So,
well, with this game though, I mean, until I can see it on the field, until I actually see it change, like I have Minnesota winning this game, and I yes, I am biased, but like, you got to prove it, man. We said the same thing last year, or the year before. Like, until you can prove it to me that you can beat Minnesota, you're not going to beat Minnesota. That's the way I see it right now.
Well, I've got this as a loss, so that'd be 2 losses for Nebraska.
Yeah,
but that's 2 losses with 5 games left.
Mm-hmm.
Then you get to host Northwestern.
Yeah.
I think they're going to freight train Northwestern.
Agreed.
I think they're going to run over Northwestern. I don't even think we need to talk about that one.
Yep.
Also, we have 8 minutes left, so we have to wrap this up in that time. USC, they host USC, and I think that's huge. I think that's huge, hosting USC. Like, if Dylan Raiola is who we think he is, if Dana Holgerson is who we think he is, this could be a high-scoring shootout, fun game.
I have Nebraska beating USC. I think this is another. Yes. I think this is another game where USC and Lincoln Riley goes in thinking they're somehow gonna win because they have more talent, and Nebraska is gonna show up because this is gonna be a high-profile game. Just like Minnesota when they played USC last year, I think it's going to have a somewhat similar outcome, and Nebraska is going to be able to win. And USC fans are going to be like, "What's going on?" Once again, thinking, "How can we lose to a team like Nebraska?"
I'm with you. I'm also picking Nebraska in this game.
Yeah.
I'm for all the reasons you said. I don't need to add anything onto it. I think it'll be the kind of thing that just defines the Lincoln Riley era until he is either forced out or takes another job out of shame.
Yep.
I just don't until he proves he's better at coaching in those games. I just don't believe he's going to coach better in those games.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. So that's a win. So then we still only have 2 losses, and you go to UCLA. Now, UCLA should be improved this year, but I don't think they have the tools to hang with Nebraska. I think Nebraska has more playmakers. Yeah. I think they have better athletes. I think that it's close because it's on the road.
Mm-hmm.
And it's even though you're going to have as many fans in the stands as they do. I know, because we did just about. I still, I think that's a game that Nebraska wins.
I agree for everything you said. Also, I just don't believe in Nico Emaliava as a leader of a team.
No, me either. Not at all. So then, John, you'd be 8-2 potentially, and 2 weeks to get ready to go to Penn State. And you have a chance to potentially think about this now. If they get to 9-2 and beat Penn State could be a top 5 team. That would put Nebraska in position for the college football playoff.
It would.
It absolutely would. Because then they would just have to beat Iowa and get to 10-2 and playoff, here we come. Because the schedule is super favorable. There's no Oregon on this schedule.
Yeah.
There's no Ohio State on this schedule. And those are the top 2 programs in the Big Ten now. So this is a really favorable schedule. This is as good. Husker fans, this is as good as it's ever going to get. So here's what I'm going to, let's get past Iowa first. And Penn State. I got Penn State in this game. I've got Penn State winning the national title.
I mean, I'm pretty much due. I don't know about a national title. I think I'm pretty much sold on it, but I'm not. I don't know if I'm as sold as you. But still, it's at Happy Valley. I'm sorry. Like I just don't. I don't see it happening. Not with this Penn State team. I don't think it's possible. So
no, it feels like a team of destiny.
Mm-hmm.
And also they're at Sparty the week before, so I don't think that's enough of a distraction to I don't know. You know.
Yep.
I got Penn State in that game. That brings us to the season finale. So that would have Nebraska at 8-3 going into a tilt where they get to host Iowa.
Yeah.
And man, if you've got Iowa with a chance, if you beat Iowa, you're 9-3. If you beat Iowa, you're still ranked.
Mm-hmm.
If you beat Iowa, you're going to a good bowl game.
Yep.
That's a big game, man.
Yeah.
That's a monster game.
For me, this is a coin flip right now. I mean, I would lean Iowa because I just trust in I just, Kirk Ferentz is Kirk Ferentz.
Yeah, he's a magician.
But we've seen it happen.
Yeah.
We've seen Nebraska beat Iowa pretty recent. So
and also the way to beat Iowa, and Holgerson will understand this.
Yes.
You can't try to run against them.
No.
Like, you can't try to go toe-to-toe with them like we're going to outrush them. Maybe some years if you have a special back and a special line or whatever. But most of the time, you need to beat Iowa with explosive passing plays.
Yep.
That's why Jeff Brom always beat Iowa.
Yep.
Because he was like, F it, I'm going to forget the run. These guys, you need to attack them downfield.
Mm-hmm.
And our buddy Scooby, friend of the pod, is down on Iowa's corners. Mm-hmm. He doesn't think they're good. And Scooby is a very astute observer of Big Ten stuff.
Yep.
So if Iowa's corners are down, like, I lean Iowa in this just because a running team versus a passing team.
Yeah.
Usually the running team in the Big Ten is going to win in November. But I think it's going to be very close.
Yeah, I'm with you. And that was always, PJ's downfall was never attacking enough downfield when it came to Iowa. So yeah. I think I agree. I think it's a possibility. I think it's a coin flip right now is where I have it. So 8-4, 9-3 is where I see Nebraska going right now, which is incredible.
Dude,
by
that's
the way,
a really
Husker
good
fans.
season.
Yeah.
That's a really good season. If Husker fans get that, be happy, because that's considering where you've been. Yeah. That would be I understand you want to get back to the playoff. We all do.
Everybody does. Yeah.
But if you go even 8-4, that's a lot better than 6-6, man. You went 3-6 in the Big Ten last year. That's not good.
Well, and that's what I mean. You're going to see those Husker fans who are going to be complaining and whining about it. Like, it's a major disappointment. It's or being like, well, we have higher expectations than Minnesota does. I'm like, no, this is the Big Ten. You got to learn that. It's about time. So 8-4 is a really good season. It's not sure. It's not
still rebuilding
playoff, but
you're still rebuilding. You're not at the pinnacle of Matt Rule and what he's going to do yet.
Yes.
Yeah, I think you go 8-4, 9-3. I think if you go 9-3, you're ecstatic.
Oh my gosh, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And I think the swing game is Sparty, man. I think you got to beat Sparty.
Yep.
Because if you beat Sparty, you're on your way. If you lose to Sparty, then all of a sudden it looks dicier.
Yeah.
So I think that's the swing game.
Yeah, but 9-3 is possible for sure. All right. Well, this was another good one.
Yes.
We were able to get through this.
Our final preview is tomorrow.
Yes.
We're doing Iowa, and we have a great guest on board for that. So get excited for that. And other than that, John, you want to say anything before we get out of here? We got about 70 seconds, 65.
As always, you want to find We Live for Saturday. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Podcast Addict. You can find us on Twitter at We Live for B1GSat. You can find Mike at Alibaba26. You can find me, John, at Norwegian Gopher. And you can email us, We Live for Saturday, B1G@gmail.com. Please follow, like, subscribe, tweet, retweet, all that good stuff. We really would love that, especially on YouTube. Please follow. We would really appreciate that.
Yes, follow us on YouTube. Love you all. See you in the next one. Take it easy, everybody. Football's almost here.
Woo!